Hello and welcome, Angela Meiritz-Reid here, Stampin' Up demonstrator based in Christchurch, New Zealand. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be creating this card. It's cased from one of Madeline's gorgeous projects. That's what our challenge is this week on the Global Design Project. All the products I've used are available at my online store and will be listed at the end of this video. A PDF tutorial is also available via my blog, and a link to my blog is also in the description box. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please give me a thumbs up and remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I've made this card to fit into one of these gorgeous slimline envelopes. So I've used the thick cardstock, so I've just folded that in half and burnished that along the edge there. And then the next layer I've got is about 5mm smaller, and I'll adhere that later. I'm going to stamp on that. And then I've got some just some white cardstock here, and I need to stamp all of these in each colorway and die cut them. So the first one I'm doing in Melon Mambo. Give it a really good firm press, and I'll just set those aside. Just gotta be careful I don't end up accidentally putting my arm or a finger into it. It's a disaster when that happens. And then the next colour I've got is Flirty Flamingo. Get a good colour up and firm press. It's quite well inked, that one. I might just do that not so firmly, actually, just so hope that I don't. Oh, that's better. Just sometimes if you have recently inked them up, they can be quite wet. And the next colour I've got is Pumpkin Pie. This is not a colour I use very often, but it's actually really pretty. See that my ink, I've inked this one up recently too, and it's quite an old ink pad. No, that's not. Give that one more go. Just need to ink it a bit more evenly, I think. It's not too bad. And just cleaning that off in between times. The next colour I've got is Daffodil Delight. You can see I've inked that up. I need to mix it in a bit better. That's good. And then we've got Granny Apple Green. I always thought this was really a bright green, but it wasn't until we got the parakeet. No, it was a parakeet party, and man, that just makes this not look so bright anymore. It's funny how that colours do that. Oopsie. And then I've got Pool Party, which is one of my favourite colours. A good stamp. And lastly, Bermuda Bay. So just bear with me while I die cut these. If you're doing it along with me, you might want to leave it going. If you're not, you might want to just fast forward me. So I'll just separate these a little bit. For those, I'm going to be popping them through my mini, so it's probably a bit easier to do that. Now it's just a matter of lining up those. Keep on going around until you get the right spot. I was watching the card making day that Stampin' Up did, and Shelley was saying, oh no, I don't put washi tape on, I just wing it, and if it doesn't work then I go back and do it again. And I thought, oh, it was good to hear that somebody else, I did the same as someone else, because I do exactly the same. Pop it through and hope for the best. I should really with this mark where the, I'm just going to go around in circles, where the top is on the stamp and the die. That would make it easier than twirling around endlessly. Do get better at it the more you do it. You know sort of where to put it exactly. It's a good thing, I think, when you do get a set, a bundle, and you just use it, you get really familiar with it, and you get to get a lot of use out of it. It makes it good value for money. Quite a good wee TV job, or what, when you're watching something, catching up on something. So many good things to watch. Right, 3 more to go. I have got new cutting plates, but I don't know, there's something about your old ones, isn't there, just being nice and worn in, even if they do look a little bit worse for wear. You could fussy cut these if you didn't have the dies. They're reasonably easy and straightforward. Right, last one. Get rid of all that rubbish. Right, the next thing we're going to do is, in the stamp set, there's this little background one, which is really handy, and I'll need my cleaner as well, so I'm going to have to clean between each colour. So what I did, I sort of roughly worked out where I wanted each flower to go, and then just moved it out of the way and just stamped this on the background. It's sort of got wee crosses in it too, so it's quite cute. It doesn't have to be exact, or that's probably be okay, because then I'll bring in the next colour. So it's just a matter of bringing in, when you have done it once, and it does make it a little bit easier because you've got an idea where you're going to go. And also it doesn't matter if you go over top of any, because A, it doesn't look that bad, and also some of that's going to be behind where you've popped the poinsettia. So you want them sort of merging into each other. It's a little bit fiddly, but I think the result is worth it. It looks really cute. I'll just, you can just pop them on from time to time just to check that you've got sort of coverage that you want. Might even pop a wee bit more of that down here. Doesn't have to be, there's no exact science to it. It's whatever tickles your fancy. And last couple of colours. Let's see how that. That's okay. And last colour, the Melon Mambo. Right, so the next thing to do, some of these I've popped on glue dots just because I didn't want them to be totally flat, and then some on dimensionals. And also what I did is I just got my bone folder, just gave them a little bit of a curl up just to make sure so that they weren't totally flat. They'll flatten down once they're in the envelope anyway, but it's nice to have that wee bit of a curve going on. So the Bermuda Bay one, the Granny Apple Green, the Pumpkin Pie, and the Fluty Flamingo I've popped on dimensionals. And then these other three, just popped, rolled up a bit of a glue dot and popped that on. And then just sort of worked out roughly where pop them. It's one of those cards that probably change slightly every time you make it. Oops, still going. Oh, I have. They weren't in the order I thought they were. Wasn't very clever, was it? That's on dimensionals. Doesn't really matter. Oh, no, that was. I had done the right thing. Just ignore me. Pop that. One. Probably want just a wee bit more yellow at the top. Yeah, that's good. And then Pumpkin Pie there, and then lastly, and it can just poke a wee bit over the edge. I might just do a wee bit more on the bottom there on that Melon Mambo. That about there. So and then that I've popped, made a bit thicker to go on there. So you can use dimensionals, or I just put some backing board that I glued together. I haven't got any prepared, so we'll just put some dimensionals on. And I've used all my long strips. Actually, the strips that would be really good on something like this too. See those longer bits, just make it less to less time taking off all the backs. But I've used them all, so I'll just get these on as quickly as possible. Or even the foam sheets would be really good, you know, use a bigger piece. There's certainly a few different options, or you could just glue it down, wouldn't matter if it was flat. Let's check I've got all of those off. And I want to get that down nice and evenly. It's really straight. And then I've done a couple of different options with the pearls. So I've got the big pearls in the middle, so I'll just go ahead and pop all those on. Love these pearls, they're just so elegant. Just finish it off nicely. And then what I've done is I've coloured some. So I've got blends in all the coordinating colours. So I've got Bermuda Bay, and I've just done it in the wee small seed pearl colour. And I'm using the dark blends of each of them. So I've got 2 of those. And the Pool Party, even the dark one's quite light. And you just want to be careful of your nib too, because they do get a bit damaged. See, that hasn't really, not really colouring. It's just putting a bit of a tint on it. And then Granny Apple Green. You can do this with the rhinestones as well. 2 of the Daffodil Delights. And Pumpkin Pie. A couple of the Flirty Flamingos. Not sure how well that colouring is showing up. How well you can see that, but even the Pool Party, which I didn't think was that, didn't look coloured, it has it's just taken a bit of the whiteness off. And you can, if it's once it's dry, just pop another coat on if you want to get a little bit darker. It will help. And then we'll just leave it for a couple of moments and it should be dry. And then we'll start here with down this end. Just pop those. Sprinkle those out and around. You can even fill up some of the gaps that are not stamped. And just change up where I've popped them. Just have to work out, I don't want them to depending on where I put my sentiment, so I might leave that last one until I'll just do the sentiment first. I just want a bit of white white cardstock, and then the Happy Birthday I've used is from the Artistically Inked stamp set. I like this. It's nice, just a plain sentiment, plain font. Just redo that, it's not quite. Oh, that's better. And then I'm just going to trim that down. A little trimmer. So I've kept that quite close. If you've got a die, there might be a die that would fit that. Depends how close you want. I quite often don't want my sentiment sort of imposing on my card too much, or covering up all the flowers too much. Okay, so once you've done that, then I'm just going to add, I just want to pop that across there. About, see, it is slightly different from my last one, but that's okay, maybe about there. So I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals on the middle bit, so it's just going to, you could make it double height and lift off. I could, so if I'm doing that, I'll just take those backs off and then just put another one on top each of those. so you can see it's too high, 2-dimensional thick. And then I'll just line that up, take that up to about there. And then what I might do with that other pearl is just pop that down there, just to balance that out a little bit. So as you can see, slightly different from the last version, but you know, it's one of those things that just evolves as you make it. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please share anything you've made casing Madeline. We'd love to see what you make. Thanks, and see you again next week. Bye for now.